Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Murphy. I am a Jira Align specialist with Expium, which is a platinum solutions partner with Atlassian and is also now a proud Valiantus company. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the updates to Jira Align with the release of version 10.122. This version was released to Jira Align instances on the continuous release track on July 7th, 2023. That will typically be your test or dev environment if you have one. And these updates will be released to production instances on July 21st, 2023. Let's go ahead and dig in. The first update to talk about is possibly the biggest update to Jira Align, not just in this release, but really overall. It is the new and improved navigation experience. If you've watched any demos of Jira Align recently, you've probably already seen some glimpses of this experience, but now it's rolling out to a Jira Align environment near you. We are going to be seeing this roll out over the next couple of releases. In this release, 10.122, administrators are now going to have the ability to turn on a platform setting, which I'll show you in just a second, that enables a toggle allowing users to opt into the new experience. When you have this setting enabled, it will display a toggle in the top right, just like this. And I'm going to first show any admins watching how you can turn this toggle on, and then we'll actually turn it on and take a look at some of those updates. To enable this toggle for your end users, you need to navigate to the platform settings. So I'm just going to do that really quickly, going to my administration settings and platform. And then this will be under the general tab. And the first setting you should see is enable new navigation. You can set this to yes and press save settings. Users may need to log out and log back in, but then they should start seeing this toggle here. Atlassian did mention in a blog post, which we'll have linked in the description of this video, that in the next release, so version 10.123, this toggle will be enabled in production environments, and essentially all users will begin seeing this toggle and will be able to flip between the two experiences. And about 3 months after that, so in Q4, likely in the November timeframe, the legacy UI will be deactivated and we'll all be using that new user interface. So it's really recommended that you take this time to get admins trained up on the new UI, get your training materials updated, and use those 3 months while we are able to flip between the two tools, getting your users acclimated to the new UI so that when we make that full switch in Q4, they are ready to go. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what this new UI looks like. We did do a deep dive into this functionality, which will be linked in the description of this video. But with this release, we're already seeing a couple more updates from when that was recorded. So do keep your eye on this playlist for any further updates as we go through these next couple of months while Atlassian is performing some tweaks to this functionality before that full rollout. Let's go ahead and toggle on this new UI. And here we are. And so let's go ahead and talk through some of the main updates that we're seeing. First, really the overall look and feel of Jira Align has been updated to resemble other Atlassian cloud products. So a little bit more similar to Jira and Confluence, if you're familiar with those systems. Really what we're going to see is a new information architecture. So Atlassian says that this is going to orient new and existing users on what we already know, our teams and our rooms. And how we're going to navigate with those concepts in mind is using this new navigation bar up here at the top. Here we'll see our various layers of scales, and in each dropdown we'll see our various teams. Keep in mind all this terminology is customizable, so you may see slightly different options in your environment. When you choose a dropdown, you'll see those appropriate teams that, of course, you have permission to view. I'm on portfolio here, so I see my portfolio teams. If you are on program or team, you'd see the appropriate levels there. You can make your selection, and then it loads the second thing I want to mention, which is this left-hand side panel. So now we're able to navigate to our various modules using this panel. Additionally, our time box selection has moved to this panel as well. In this first field, you are able to select one or multiple PIs and press apply here. What Atlassian has done is really brought any of those fan favorite areas in each tier up to the top of the list. And then we can access additional functionality under these bottom three options. More items is going to include your grids, so any objectives grids or work item grids. Reports will be just that, reports for this layer of scale. And more pages is going to be anything that isn't a report or a grid. Additionally, with this update, we are going to have a new homepage. You may have already seen this previously. You are able to press home here. And this is going to show you any rooms you were recently in or any pages that you have starred. So on each page, you'll see a little star next to the title of it, and those will appear here. This essentially replaces the ability to favorite pages that we saw in the legacy UI. And finally, Atlassian did mention that they will have some in-product guides. So as you and your users navigate to this new user interface for the first time, there'll be some guides showing you around and giving you a tour. And Atlassian did mention that they will also be updating their public documentation over the coming days so that we are able to see any of those updates in the documentation as well. Also in this release, Atlassian continues to add to the forecasting functionality. To see previous updates to this area, do check out our previous release update video. Now we will have the ability to view a forecasted spend financial value for features. You can see on my screen here, I'm on a feature and on the spend tab, and now I have a little forecasted spend box. Like our other spend calculations, we are able to click into this. And under the green button here, we are able to view the calculation. The forecasted spend for features is going to be calculated as the program estimate entered on the features forecast tab, multiplied by the program spend per point. If you have a feature that is associated to multiple programs, the calculation will be a sum of each program's calculation, assuming that the additional programs are associated with the PI the feature is assigned to, and so that the program's information will be looped into the forecast tab as well as the forecasted spend value. You'll also start seeing this forecasted spend for features on other visualizations like the portfolio room in the financials view, the status report financials view, and the forecast page. Continuing with these updates around the forecasted information in the backlog, specifically in the Kanban column view here, you may have heard this called Kanban column PI view here. The estimated PI load bar that we see here is now going to be updated for features to be more consistent with other functionality in the tool. Previously, for features, this value is calculated using the features estimate entered on the Details tab of the Details panel. For epics and capabilities, this value was calculated using the program estimates from the Forecast tab. With this release, the program PI load calculations for epics, capabilities, and features will all use the program estimates from the Forecast tab. Additionally, if you adjust the card size in this view to be the normal size, the estimate that you see here will be the estimate entered on the Forecast tab in either member weeks, team weeks, or points, depending on the estimation statistic you use. For those using t-shirt size, this value will not be displayed. Let's jump over to the work in progress by step report. This is also the work in progress by state report. We're just in the step view here. And going forward, the statistics or stats setting will be enabled by default. This does display this blue bar here in the middle, showing us our throughput, efficiency, and cycle time over the last 30 days. A couple more administrative updates. To make the in-product help and privacy policy information accessible to all users, Atlassian has disabled the setting to remove the help button under the platform settings. I'm here in the platform settings on the general tab, and now the show help button is a read-only field set to yes for us. Additionally, under the Security tab, we have a new setting called the Privacy Policy URL down here at the bottom, and this will allow customization of the link users can click on whenever they select Privacy Policy in the Help slide-out panel. Switching over to the slides for the last couple of updates, the Jira connector did receive some small updates. We have two settings that have been renamed to better describe their behavior. The Create Sprints in Jira Align from Jira setting is now Sync Sprints from Jira, and default Jira Align Story priority is now default Jira Align Story and Feature priority. Atlassian also continues to make updates to the Azure DevOps or ADO connector, allowing the connector to support the sync of Jira Align single select drop-down type fields for features and stories. These fields can sync bidirectionally or ADO to Jira Align based on the sync settings for the corresponding work item. Existing system fields configured on the details panels for those work items will now display in the ADO connector slide out panel, which is what you see here in the images on the slide. To make this data sync, you will need to enter the exact name of the Azure DevOps field on the mapping text box in the Azure DevOps connector of Jira Align. And that Azure DevOps field can be a text, pick list, Boolean, or numeric field type. Additionally, you'll need to make the Jira Align custom field active for the portfolios you are trying to sync data for, and it will display a warning in your connector settings if that field is not active. We also have another API update. Now when performing the Epic API GET, it will return the health and status values from the Epic status report. You can see an image of those fields on my screen here. And Atlassian continues to remove the quality module. With this release, the test folders and builds will be removed. In the next release, those functions will be removed. This release did have several defect fixes. If you want more details on any of these defects or any of the updates we've covered in this video, you can check out the release notes, which are linked in the description of this video. And that is all for the release of version 10.122 to Jira Align. Thank you very much and good luck on your Jira Align journey.